Good morning, everyone. This is Brian Caprice. Let me do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear my voice okay? Okay, good. There will be some pauses. There's a little tiny bit of a broadcasting delay, about 10-15 seconds. So if I do stop for a little bit, it's just because I've asked this question, I'm waiting for you to respond, and then it takes another 10 seconds for you guys to hear my voice. So we have one person asking if there's any sound. Yeah, Eric, if you could message that person directly and give them a little hand if you can. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, I think. We have a lot to cover today in kind of a very short period of time. I expect that we're going to be on for about an hour today. I wish I had about 8 hours, but unfortunately I do not. And that's kind of the theme of what this webinar is and why I've created these strategies. Let me give you a little bit of information about myself so you kind of have a background of why I created this strategy and why I created this program for Major League Trading. I've been trading for basically since 2000, actually a little bit before that. And it's easy when you don't have a lot of time, or when you don't have kids and you're not married. I could spend as much time as I wanted looking at charts and learning this, learning that. Um, but now life is obviously very, very much different for me. I have 7-year-old twin boys. I have a wife that travels around all the time for her job. My mom lives down the street and she's a widow, so I'm constantly running all over the place, whether it be taking my sons. I'm actually their lacrosse coach, I'm their soccer coach. I'm avid and I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and it just seems like although there's 24 hours in the day, I really need like 26 or 27 hours just to be able to get things done. And I'm always kind of I wouldn't say I'm not in the rat race because I'm definitely not working a 9 to 5 job. I've been there, I've done that. I was a pharmaceutical representative where I drove around to offices all the time. I used to work for Wells Fargo, so I've been there. I've had the office jobs, but now I just try to fill my life with as much stuff as possible for my sons. And trading is something that's very important for me. It's how I make my living. Um, so for me, one of the biggest obstacles that I had was finding enough time to, actually figure out how to trade. It's like, God, I know how to do this. I have the skills to do this. I have the money to do this, but when am I going to find time? So when I joined Major League Trading about 2 months ago, I got with Jack and Eric, and I talked about my situation. And one of the biggest things I found out is we all have the same problems. We love trading; it's important to us, but we also have a mission to help other people. And in helping other people, a lot of times we put them ahead of ourselves, and we don't get as much time. So what I did was I took my knowledge, I took what Eric and Jack had, and I created what we call the 30-minute trader program. All right. So, with that being said, before I get started with any of the actual learning, I obviously have to go through a little bit of the disclosures, okay? Because we're talking about making money, there's certain legal things that I have to talk about, all right? Obviously, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. It's something that you've heard numerous times. Anytime you've seen anything anything that has to do with the markets, you've heard that. Um, Obviously, there's risk involved. Anytime we talk about trading, there is risk. Without risk, there would not be reward. So that's something that's extremely important to understand. I'm making no promises, guarantees, or warranties that anything I teach you is guaranteed to make you money. A lot of people always ask, well, how great I'm doing. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well I'm doing because you're not me and you'll never trade like me and you see things differently. And a lot of people will see somebody that says, oh my God, that guy made $8 million trading. Well, I'm going to do it too. Well, you need to understand you're not that person. You handle stress differently than I do. Um, so what I can do is I can share my knowledge with you and help you craft a system for you, but I can't guarantee because I'm not going to be sitting there pushing buttons with you, unfortunately. All right. So just so everybody understands that there is risk in trading, the goal is to give you guys a safe, low risk strategy to help you get on your way, and for some of you to make a little bit extra money. All right. So with that being said, what is the agenda for today? We're going to talk about who benefits from this type of trading. This trading, honestly, it may not be for you. Okay. Some people that can sit there for 8, 10, 12 hours a day in front of a monitor may not like this because they want to sit in front of a computer all day because they like that. They have that personality. So we're going to go through who this is for and who this is not for. We're going to talk about what conditions it can be traded under. Okay. We're going to talk about why we use Nadex at Major League Trading and why I use it for this program. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break into the 3 different sections. One, I'm going to explain what the lunchtime trader is. Okay. The lunchtime trader is going to be the main focus of today, and it's something that I feel the most people would be interested in at this point. Then I'm going to go over a review of what news trading is, and that's actually my personal favorite one. It's something that we get asked all the time. How do I trade the news? So I'll just do a very, very quick review on that one. And then I'm going to do a review of the overnight trend trader. And again, it's probably my second most traded strategy is the overnight trend trader. So with that being said, let's kind of jump into things here, and let's talk about who this is for. All right. Now, I don't have a poll credit for this one, but you just go ahead and type yes or no in this one. This is for people who work full time and can't log in during normal work hours. Okay. How many people in here have a full job, whether it be 9 to 5 or in reality, it's probably 8 to 6 at this point, not including commute time. How many people have a job like that that doesn't really, make it too easy for them to log in and check charts during the day? Just go ahead and type a yes, and we'll be able to see it in the chat. It's going to be a lot of different people. Okay. This entire program is literally designed for people just like you. Okay. Literally, when I first started working, I was like, man, this is great, but I would love to trade. And it was a constant battle back and forth. And I wanted something a little bit differently. Okay. The next thing is people who want to trade at night before bed. I actually learned to trade in the currencies market from 9 p.m. to midnight. And it was interesting because for the past couple of years, I worked for a group called Online Trading Academy, and they're really not huge in a currency trading. And it's funny. They always tell people, oh, you can't trade at night. And everybody says you can't trade at night. And I'm proof that you could. For me, in my current environment, my kids go to bed at 8:30 every evening, okay? Or as close to 8:30 as possible. You know how that works when you have plans with two kids. It's who's going to read, did you brush your teeth? So what I do right now is I literally will, put my kids to bed, go to the computer. Well, actually, typically I'll grab like a tea or coffee or something like that, and I'll go to my computer, turn the charts on, and I start looking for opportunities that I can take overnight. So if you have a full-time job, is it possible that you could log on before you go to bed and spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes looking to see if there's any opportunities? Absolutely. Okay, and that's who this is for. Now, some people want to trade before going to work. Now, when I was younger, I wasn't necessarily a morning person. Somehow, magically, I don't know if it's when I had kids or not, but magically now I can wake up and it's not a problem. But some people would like to actually trade and get some positions on before they go to work. You ask I'm actually in Eastern time zone. I actually live in Maryland, right down the street from the Naval Academy. So in Annapolis. So same as New York time. I'm an East Coaster. So obviously trading currencies was not the most fun thing for me because if I was trading the London Open, it was at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's like being a vampire. But I did it for a little while. But becoming an overnight trader, again, setting my trades on before I went overnight was always the best thing. Now, another one is people that are scared of losing money. Okay. When we did the survey before this, we had about 55 to 65%, depending on, if people were answering the question correctly. We asked you if you were trading, and that's how many people said they were trading. Of those 65% of the people that said yes, how many of you were scared to lose money? I want you to go ahead and put a yes or no. And be honest, we're all in the same place. I mean, I went through most of my trading career so scared to lose money. And it's good to be scared, but that's one of the biggest things. If you're new to this, you're obviously going to be scared of losing money. Okay. Another kind of group that this is for is people that have smaller account size, but that are looking to start trading. Okay. I'll say this right now. I mentioned Nadex before, and I'm seeing some questions about Nadex. You may have heard of Nadex, but have no idea what it is. If you're going to be trading something new, do you want to put a whole lot of money at risk into an account for it? Probably not. You may be a futures trader and a full-time trader, but this is a strategy you want to try. So what do? You put a little bit of money into an account to start trading, okay? And again, that's what I want to give you the ability to do. Take small amounts. In fact, with Nadex, you can open up an account with as little as $200. I'm sorry, $250. Now, another group who this is absolutely for is people who want to make money during the lunch break. Most people get about an hour lunch break. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. But here's the thing. Almost everybody this day and age has a smartphone, and you can absolutely do these strategies over a smartphone or tablet, or even if your boss will let you log in, it's just a standard website. There's no software you would have to download, so you may actually be able to get away with trading it at your desk. All right? Ty says 30 minutes. Ty, it's 30 minutes, but it's not really 30 minutes, right? And like I said, this is for people that have a smartphone. Now, I said before, who is this not for? This strategy, although I don't know why anybody would hate to make additional amounts of money, particularly while they're sleeping. But this strategy is not going to be for people who want something that's extremely technical, that they need to do hours and hours of analysis, that need to sit there and babysit it. Okay, so if you're a person that likes to babysit their trades and likes to stress themselves out by looking at it, watch tick up, tick down, tick up, tick down, this is not for you. Okay, this is for people who want a very easy system to follow, something they can do overnight, something they can do during the day. Literally, it's kind of like set and forget trading. Okay, it is what it is. Take it or leave it. All right, does that make sense? Everybody still with me? Traders always lose money. Ken, I'll tell you what. You know what? You're absolutely correct, but you're absolutely wrong at the same time. So, guys, I just want to point out. So, Ken says if you're scared, trading is not for you. Traders always lose money. And I'll tell you what. One of the things that you need to get over to become an actual trader is loss. You're going to take losses. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But at the end of the day, what's most important? Your win-loss ratio, or if your account balance goes up and down? Very simply, I'll answer this one for you. It matters if your account balance goes up and down. You know, if I have a strategy that I'm only right 30% of the time, I'll make it easier. What if I'm only right 25% of the time? So I lose 75% of the time, but then I double my account every 2 weeks in size. I went from 2,000 to 4,000 to 6,000, or I'm sorry, from 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Is that a good system? Absolutely. So stop worrying about the wins and losses. Worry about the size of your account. Okay. It's always about the account, not about wins and losses. You're going to lose. Professionals lose all the time. In fact, banks and institutions, they control the markets, they manipulate them, and they lose 50% of the time. Okay. It is what it is. So let's talk about the different market conditions that you can trade in. Okay. There are trending markets. And people love trends. They'll say the trend is your friend, and then there's always the caveat until the bend at the end, and those kinds of things. And trending markets, for me, in this 30-minute trader mentality, this is best to do before work or at nighttime. Okay, you would be absolutely shocked to see how much the market moves when everybody's asleep. It's absolutely amazing, and I'll have to show you a couple slides on that. The other one is the sideways ranging market. Now, this is the absolute most boring time for, day traders and things like that. That's why in New York, you never see the markets move around lunchtime because they're all out eating lunch. They're drinking. I know because I used to work 2 blocks from the exchange. Okay, a lot of people are like, unless there's movement, you're not making any money in the markets. And that's absolutely incorrect. You absolutely can. The thing is, the people that are telling you they can't do it are the ones that don't know how. Plain and simple. Okay? Now, there's also news releases, and news releases is like, as I mentioned before, it's got to be my favorite. I learned to trade news years and years and years ago, and it's always been my most favorite time. News trading happens all day long, morning, lunchtime, nighttime, overnight. A lot of people think that the world revolves around New York City. It's not true. We are now in a global economy. News happens in Australia and Japan and Germany, all around the entire world 24 hours a day. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to trade news. And once again, most of the time, a lot of the best news is literally in the middle of the night when people are sleeping. Okay, there's great opportunities there as well. Most people of these three, I would say most people want to teach you trending strategies. I've been in the kind of education realm now for about 8 years, teaching people how to trade the markets. I used to do some mentoring beforehand, and one of the biggest things that you see out there is a lot of strategies are based off of nothing about trending markets. I mean, think about it. If you bought at the absolute bottom of the last recession, how difficult was it to make money from then till now? It really wasn't, right? I mean, the market just kept going up and up and up. And actually, since this last election, it's kind of the same thing as well. I mean, how difficult has it been to make money since the election last year when the market makes new highs again and again and again and again? And the only reason people haven't been making money in the markets is because they're not in, because they've been so scared because cash is on the sidelines. So trending markets is not as difficult. It's more kind of figuring out, when is the trend going to stop? And, some people will get in there and try to pick tops and bottoms. And, I've been with companies that do that, and I've been able to do that. Brett, if you don't short a lot. Yeah, Brett, you don't want to be shorting when the market's going up and up and up and up. But I'll tell you right now, if you were able to pick the absolute top of the market before that last crash and you rode that thing all the way down, how much money did you make? Enormous amounts. One of my colleagues here, Jack Gleason, if you guys didn't know, last week when the whole Korea and Trump kind of battle was going back and forth, in one day, Jack cleared $70,000 in that collapse in the market. How did he do it? With some of the strategies we're going to talk about today. but then also some of his own intuition and some of his futures contracts. So I mean, again, I think in Nadex he ended up doing $58,000 in profit in one day with the market going straight down. So it's absolutely possible to make money in both directions, and that's kind of why don't listen to people that tell you what you can't do. It's all about what you can do. All right. So why do we use Nadex? I just mentioned it just a second ago, and why are we using it? I'd say for me, the biggest benefit to using Nadex is the fact that you can trade everything in one single account. Okay. I started trading in foreign currencies, but if I wanted to trade commodities or indexes, I'd open up futures accounts, or I'd open up a stock account, or I'd open up, you had money in multiple different locations. Okay. It's amazing that as a new trader, you have the ability to trade all the indexes in stock. You can trade all the foreign currency pairs. You can trade all the commodities. I mean, as a currency trader, I was like, God, I wish I could trade gold. And God, I wish I could trade oil. Look how much money you could make. But then I had to open up a futures account, and I had to deal with fees and expenses for data. And eventually that stuff starts to add up. Nadex is a one-stop shop. You can do everything in one place. The other aspect of it too, and again, years ago, binary options had a really bad, I almost sold against it. Why? Because it was all offshore. Okay. Now, Nadex is one of the exchanges in the United States. There's actually two of them, but Nadex is a CFTC regulated exchange. Now, what does that mean? It means it's regulated by the same exact people that do the futures market, the options market, as well as the NYSE and the stock market in the United States. It's actually a regulated exchange in the United States. Much, much better than the old days. Now, what market is not regulated in the United States? That would be the currency market. Largest market in the world, not regulated in the United States. So again, very, very good. Another nice thing to understand about Nadex is they get all their income solely from the exchange fees, from taking, not from taking positions in the market. They're not trading against you, okay? In currencies, 100% of the time, the broker is taking the trades against you. That's how it works because there's no centralized exchange. The other aspect of Nadex binaries that I really, really, really like is the fact that you don't need stop losses. Why? Because you know your maximum profit and your maximum loss before you enter the trade, okay? Everybody thinks a stop loss is a guarantee of how much money you can lose, but here's the thing. A stop loss is just nothing but a trigger that sends your next market order in. If the market is moved down, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get filled at your actual stop loss. You'll get stopped wherever the market is. Stop losses can get gap passed. It can jump more, farther down. You may plan on going into a trade and saying, hey, you know what? I'm only going to lose $30 on this trade. But if there's some big news and the market gaps, you could lose 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the amount you originally planned on losing. And that kind of throws a monkey wrench in your trading, particularly if you're scared about this. Well, guess what? In Nadex, the maximum loss is what it tells you when you enter the trade. It doesn't matter how bad the market is, you can only lose that. So again, it's, that's one of those big things. Now, the other aspect is the $250 minimum balance. It's affordable for most people. If you don't have $250 to put into this, it's probably not a good time for you to start trading. I want you guys to kind of make a plan, figure out how to get $250. I don't want you to use rent money. I don't want you to not eat for a week. Make sure you're in a good place, okay? But $250 is an amazing place to be able to get into the markets and start trading, particularly when, your first trade, your goal is to make $50 on a trade. It's a heck of a return, 20% in one trade, all right? So let's start talking and let's go into the sideways market, okay? This is the lunchtime trader, okay? Now, I want to make sure everybody get a pen and pencil because I want you guys to take some notes. You're more than welcome to ask some questions. I'll do my best to answer them as fast as I see them. Remember, there is a little bit of a delay. Open Nadex with 100. Oh, Dimitri, I thought it was 250 now. Maybe they actually lowered it to go smaller than that. But I typically recommend at least, 250 to start off with. So, lunchtime trader, who is it best suited for? This whole sideways market trader. Obviously, it's for lunchtime, but you can also use this in overnight. I'm going to show you a trade later on. It was actually a weekly setup that I had that I took on a Sunday evening before the markets even opened here. This is one that I do actually trade quite often. It's something that the more and more I trade it, the more that I like it. It really kind of is one of those things that it's a very low stress trade. There are ways to make it even better than what I can show you guys today. But it's simple. I mean, what do you need to trade it? You need a PC, smartphone, or tablet. You don't need any fancy software. You don't have to be good with computers. You don't have to be, you don't need to have 10 hours a day. I mean, literally, this is a trade I set up at night or at lunch, and I'm going to show you a few great examples of this one that literally the trades, one of them took 4 minutes and one of them took 20 minutes a couple days ago. Okay. So it's very, very small. All right. And as you can see by the picture here, I mean, does the market look like it's moving a whole lot in this picture? Not so much, right? It's moving sideways. I mean, how do you expect to make any money when the market's not moving? I mean, if I buy, low, do I want to buy low and sell low? I mean, it did move. No, absolutely not. Okay. So let me go into the kind of the preface and behind the scenes here. Now, this may get a little bit advanced for some people, okay? And I apologize right off the bat if this is a little tiny bit advanced. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where this strategy was derived from so you guys can start focusing on and understanding the process, okay? Now, in the options market, most difficult market in the world to learn because there's so many moving pieces. They have strategies there that take advantage of time, okay? For most people, time is bad. But in options, there's something called time value that's associated with options. Basically saying you have so much time in there, and it's called time value. But what you can do is you can actually sell time. So as time goes away, time is actually an ally. Time is actually on your side. And I'm going to show you the two strategies that we use to actually combine this and put this together. Now, the first strategy, would be called a long call butterfly. And this may seem very difficult, but just stay with me, okay? A butterfly spread is a limited risk, non-directional trading opportunity. So what do I mean by that is, when I say limited risk, basically, again, you know exactly how much money you can lose going into the whole situation because, one, it's an option. What do I mean by non-directional? You get paid the most amount of money by the thing not moving whatsoever. So if you guys can see this situation over here, look at the chart on the right-hand side. See where it says $40? I don't know if you guys will be able to see my cursor or not. But you see right here at $40, okay? The way that you can profit from this is you're buying, and again, for people that are not options traders, ITM means in the money. ATM means at the money, basically meaning right here, if the price is at 40. And then OTM means out of the money, okay? The way that you profit from this, if price stays at $40, you make your maximum profit. If price moves up, the farther up that it moves, you start going down in profits. And over here, when it hits 45, you are now at break even. And the higher it goes, you drop down until you hit your maximum loss in this trade. Now, these are okay trades. When I first started trading options, I loved the idea of this. It's like, wait a second, you mean I'm going to get paid for no movement? I can make money when the market doesn't move at all. Sounds like an amazing idea. But, again, it was a little bit more complicated. And I figured that there had to be an absolutely better way to do this, right? There was, okay? That's called a long condor or an iron condor, okay? Now, this one, you'll notice that the charts are slightly different. Here, it's kind of just like a peak, like a pyramid, right? I had a very, very small maximum profit potential. Here, now all of a sudden, it's changed a little bit, correct? It's a little bit different, okay? Now, it's kind of like more like a wide area before it starts to slant back down again. You'll see. I have a lot more ability to make money based off of this area. Now, again, these are meant for low volatility situations. If the price is moving all over the place, you think these strategies are good to take? Absolutely not. Like in the middle of news, if you were going to have like, I don't know, an oil inventory report, would this be a good strategy to play with? Absolutely not, okay? But in this situation, an iron condor is what I liked a lot better, okay? I would be able to place trades and, if the market didn't move that much, I literally could go in and say, okay, I expect it to stay within this range. I'm going to go in, I'm going to put the position on, and hopefully it doesn't move. If it did move, was I nervous about it? No, not really. Why? Well, because I had my maximum loss. I knew that I couldn't lose any more than what it was going into the trade, okay? So again, I don't want to confuse too many people with this side of the option. So what I did was I kind of took these two option strategies from my past and said, okay, how can I combine this with Nadex? Again, what I was trying to focus on was I don't want people to lose a lot of money. I want them to know their maximum risk, but I want something that's easy for them to understand. I mean, when you look over here, selling one out of the money, buying one in the money, there's a lot of moving pieces. It's confusing, and it doesn't need to be. I wanted to make this very simple for you, all right? So what I did is I created what's called a Nadex butterfly. And again, I'm not the originator of this. This is something that I kind of combine two strategies. Other people have different names for it, but we call it our Nadex butterfly here. Now, Nadex is different because the way that Nadex binaries work, okay, there are Nadex binaries and there are Nadex spreads, and that's a little bit different of a lunchtime strategy. But as far as the Nadex binary works, if you buy a 2,444 strike, you won't make money until it's one tick over that. Okay, it's greater than 200. It's greater than 2,000. So here, we'll do the middle one. Okay, I'll use this one. So you'll notice over here. See how this says 2,444.01. The Nadex strike. Okay, the Nadex strike that would have been associated with would have been greater than 2,244. Okay, so that's why this 01 is over here. And people are like, what? How come it's not on the other side? So the preface for this one is, if I end up selling a strike on the top side and buying a strike on the bottom, they are both technically in the money. Okay, and what I want to happen is I want price to say, and you'll notice there's no tiering effect here, right? Nadex is a yes or no situation. Okay, very simply this. Is the price over or is it not? If the answer is yes, you get paid. If the answer is no, you don't get paid. It's lack of a better term, it's black and white. Does that make sense to everybody? So in this situation, literally if the price stays within that range, in this case, 2,440 to 2,444, you make your maximum profit. Okay? Now hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let me kind of show you, a little bit of on a chart, because I think that makes it a little bit easier. All right. I'm going to kind of give you the case on this one. Typically what you want to do is you want to take at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay. When I say 1-to-1, what I mean for that for my new traders is if you're risking $50, you're making $50. Now, for those of you that don't know, I know there's a lot of people that actually trade Nadex in here. Every contract in Nadex is based off $100. Okay. If I'm risking 30, I can make 70. If I'm risking 70, I can only make 30. So it's very easy to figure out what your risk to reward is because everything is based off 100. Do you take maximum loss if it goes against you? Do you adjust? Do you get out right before loss? Yeah, Vasily, great question. In its simplest form, yes. If it goes against you and you just let this thing go to expiration, then yeah, you can take your maximum loss of $50. There are advanced ways to get out beforehand to make these trades actually cost you nothing and to lower your risk down to almost anything. Okay. Typically, another rule for this to be able to trade these, especially during a lunchtime, is you want to make sure that you have declining volume. Okay. One of the things that we mentioned before is when there's a lot of people in the market, a lot of things can happen. A lot of price movement going around. Typically, when you see high volume, what does that mean? It means that there's banks and institutions in the market. Okay. Do banks and institutions move the markets all over the place to take money from us home traders? Absolutely. Well, if they're not in there, are there any big boys that are able to move it? Not so much. So we're looking for declining volume. Another big caveat you want to make sure right now is you want to make sure that there is absolutely no news coming up. Yeah, they can be. Yeah, your name, it says, yep, again, advanced options, which are a little bit different. Remember, I said I combined two different sections. And remember, another thing that I didn't mention, guys, and I will, and this is a little bit more advanced because it seems like you guys are a pretty advanced group in here today. There are buying there are buying these spreads, but there's also selling these spreads. Okay. So don't get them confused. If I buy something, I want things to, move. If I sell it, I want them not to move. So understand there's two sides to every coin, and I think that's why a couple people are a little confused. Mike, yeah, these are all Eastern time. Yeah, I don't do anything on West Coast. I do everything East Coast time. All right, so the goal of this one, if you look at the picture, look at the actual chart. So during this is obviously lunchtime, right? 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. There's really not a whole lot of movement. Why? Well, there's typically not a whole lot of news. New York City, they're all eating lunch. Chicago, they're an hour behind. They're getting ready to go to lunch as well. What happened at 11:30? Well, the European markets closed. So how many markets in the world are open between 11:45 and 2:15? Just one. And if the big boys in that market are out eating, do you think there's some opportunity to take sideways trades? Absolutely. Okay. So during this time period, look at the range. I mean, it literally sat within a 4-point range for what? 2.5 hours? So is there money that we can made in there at time? Absolutely. Okay. Are you legging into the buy dip? So nah, Brett, you're making it way too complicated. I'm not legging in. I'm going in at one shot. All right. So here are the rules. Okay, in this situation, you can see the declining volume. Look over in the chart on the right-hand side. You see how starting at 9:30 in the morning when the markets opened, it was obviously a big burst. Mutual funds stepped in, institutions stepped in, news traders set in. 10 o'clock, obviously, you have your reversal. There's probably some news associated with that. price goes down. Okay, this area in the middle here, again, from that 11:45, you see how the news almost disappears? Now, right around here, do you guys, right around the 12:30ish period, you see where it basically flatlines almost and gets really, really low? That's kind of what I'm looking for when I'm looking for butterfly trades during lunchtime. Now, Nadex will do strikes over 2 hours. They'll do them daily. They'll even do 20-minute ones, okay, on the indices. I really prefer those for this trade. That's my favorite. So that's what you're looking for during this time period. Now, ideally, what you want to do is make sure that you have at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, right? So that means if I'm selling the top side, I want to make sure that I'm selling at 75, so I have $25 risk. If I'm buying the other side, I want to make sure that I have $25 risk. Okay. Basically, 75-25 is the golden ratio that I'm looking for. Now, a couple people have asked questions, and I don't want to kind of get too ahead here. There are advanced exits to these trades to be able to reduce your risk, as well as get better than 1-to-2 risk to reward ratios. Okay, that's getting a little bit fancy, but I want you guys to kind of grasp the concept of this. The goal is to make sure that you have $50 profit potential, and at most you have $50 risk. Okay. If the trade stays in the middle, both strikes, both the top and the bottom, will hit their full profit potential. Okay. If you left this on to expiration and the price, say, blows through the roof, what's going to happen? Well, your bottom side is obviously going to be successful, right? The one your buy will obviously be there, right? But what about your top side? Are you going to lose money? Of course you will. It blew through the top of your strike, right? You'll lose your 75. Well, but you made your money on the bottom, which lowers your risk back down to 50. All right. I probably should create a little chart to make that a little bit easier to understand. But this is actually the first time that we've done this webinar. This is brand new. Like I said, Jack's been begging me to put this together for the group for a while now. Okay. But worst case scenario in this one, without getting crazy whatsoever, if I put it on, left it till expiration, I'm either making $50 or I'm losing $50. And if you're okay with that, wonderful. Okay. There's a lot of news time trades that I'll go ahead and do that because I like the opportunity. It is what it is. Okay. Now, will I make this better? Will I sit there and actually look at it sometime? Sure. I'll get out of some of these. They look like they're going to start going against me, and I'll close the positions down early. There'll be times that I close this out when we get back to, kind of one of my strikes, and I'll take less of a loss. And in that case, what I'll do is I'll get out at break even to where I don't lose anything on the trade. All I had to pay was the $2 basically to get into the trade, just the commission cost of the settlement fees. So again, like I said, it's meant to be designed. This trade that I'm talking about now is if it's during lunchtime and you have 20 minutes or 30 minutes and you see this type of setup happening, what do? You get on your smartphone, you log on to the Nadex webpage, you literally place a 20-minute binary, you take your $50 out of the market, or for one contract. I mean, if you want to do 2 or 3 or 4, depending on your account size, I mean, you can take as many or little as you want. Take your $50, your $100, your $150. I mean, if you can make $100 at lunch, 2 or 3 days a week, that's not bad, right? I mean, an extra $200-300 every week. You're talking about an extra $1,000 to $1,500 every month on a little tiny $250 account. If you don't like that, then again, don't do this. It's not for everybody. But for me, when I established this program originally, I thought that would be a great way to get traders not only into the market, but help you guys start getting some money, lower your bills, and eventually, maybe your goal is to become a full-time trader. All right. So here's what Nadex actually looks like. As I mentioned before, the guidelines for this is it's best used on 20-minute or 2-hour binaries. Get as close to 50-50 risk to reward as possible. Now you'll see in this setup right here, this was actually a 2-hour binary that had 1 hour left. Okay. So if it was expiring at 11 a.m., that means that this trade was actually put on at 10 a.m. It just happened to meet my requirements during that time period. And you'll see for me to sell the upper side, it's right around that 25 mark. If you look over here on the bid. And then the bottom side was just a little bit over the 75. So, I figured let's split the difference. It's close enough. And for me, that's what I was looking for. And it's as simple as that. There's no way to link the two, so you actually have to put on one and then the other one. But, when you're looking at the range in this one, we have a 24.63 to a 24.59. So, again, we have a 4-point move and only an hour to go during a time period where there was no news, nothing was going on, nobody was talking, London was closing. When you stack up all those figures, the odds have suddenly kind of shifted to your favor. Will it stay within that, that 4-point range? That was a risk that I was willing to take. As I said, there's always going to be a little bit of risk in this, but it's as simple as finding those two different strike prices. Okay. Now, here was that actual trade. This was a trade setup that was taken actually later on in that day. Now you'll notice this one, okay? So there's a lot of stuff going on this screen, all right? I am behind on the questions, but it's because I want to make sure that, can you trade futures on Nadex? Yeah, you can trade it on futures if you really want to. Just not kind of the same, not the same binary. That's something that's specific towards options, Praveen. So here's a butterfly that was executed on August 3rd. Now, let me run through the left side of this chart first, and then I will focus on the right-hand side, okay? In looking at the chart, the first thing that we need for these to be successful trades is I need my volume low, okay? Look at the green box right here at the bottom. You guys see how the volume is basically flatlined? It literally shot down here and then is dead. It flatlined, okay? So it had been flatlined for a while, okay? I'm looking at here and saying, okay, it's news time. We're at 12:16 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, right? It's been flatlined for over an hour. Okay, there's not much going on. There's no news. I like this area, this zone kind of in here. It flatlined, and I was like, yep, I don't think it's going to do much at this point. It's already faltering. We're getting a doji, wicks on both sides, lots of indecision. Okay, so what I was able to find in this case was I actually took two sells. Okay, I couldn't find because the spreads and everything were shrinking. I couldn't find a top side that I really liked. So what did I do? I found an 80 on the bottom side. Okay, and then I found two on the top side that I was able to sell. They were pretty close in price. So instead of taking one for 25, I took one for 19.25, one for 12.25. So again, not a bad spread in both directions. Okay. Now this spread, the crazy thing about this was at 12:16. Okay. It was a 20-minute binary, meaning that it only had 4 minutes till expiration. Well, how did the trade end up over here? As you can see, where did it end? It ended at 1269.61. So what does that mean? It means that my 47.70, 50 or below was profitable. My payout amount was $100. Okay. My my 24.70, again, it was lower. I got my full target, right? My full payout. My purchase, was it above 24.69? Yup, it was at 24.69.61. So I was 61 up on it. Again, full payout. So this one was a $51.40 profit in 4 minutes. Okay. For most people, if you work in an office building, you can't get in the elevator, go downstairs, and get out of the building in 4 minutes. And what was I able to do? I was able to go in, place 3 contracts, literally take my $50 profit off in 4 minutes. Okay. If that's something that you like, that you want to do, then this strategy is something that you want to learn. And how much analysis did I really do into this product? Okay. What did I do? I looked at Forex Factor to see if there's any news. Nope. So that took me a total of like 15, 20 seconds. I looked at the chart really quick, and again, this is just on a Thinkorswim chart, but you could use this anywhere you want. Actually, Nadex actually has its own charting now that you could have looked at it as well. You could have saw that, okay, price is basically flatlined. There's no news. The volume is dried up. We're within a range. I can take my, I can get my $50 out of this one. And then the question is, do I hit the button to do it, or do I not? In this case, I did, and there was my full payout. $50. Now, this is just one contract. If I'd have done 2 contracts, it would have been $100 in 4 minutes. Or if I would have done 4 contracts, it would have been $200 in 4 minutes. Simple as that. If you guys can make $200 during lunch times 5 days, it's $1,000. That's $4,000 a month. That's a nice little payout for something that you just do during lunch. Okay. Most of the time when people are starting to be consistent with this and start doing that on a regular basis, you start questioning why you actually have the full, the office job. Unless you like the cubicles and the commute and that kind of stuff, I don't. And again, that's why I'm a big believer. My kids know at home, I've been daddy daycare all summer. My kids know when it's lunchtime, they eat and then they go downstairs and watch a movie because they know that dad's trading, and this is exactly why. All right. Here's another one on the 15th. Same situation. This was at 12:20. Okay, I got into this one literally right at 12:20. I was waiting for it. I liked the setup. I really liked how the market was starting to flatline. I liked how the volume was declining. Okay, like I said, it basically was flatlined back in here. Okay, I was waiting for it to get to an area that I liked. Same thing. This one I got a little bit better entry. Instead of doing the 25, I actually got 30 and 75. So again, this is another situation. 20 minutes, another $54.20, 25 cents in profit. And what was the market doing? Absolutely nothing. Okay, where were the big boys in the market? They were out eating lunch, going to happy hour, doing whatever they want to do. What are most people in life doing? They're out eating, having coffee, at the water cooler. Nobody's being productive. Okay, and in a situation where if you're making $50, what does that turn out to be? $150 an hour. It's not a bad life, considering you're not doing a whole lot. And again, my analysis took how much time? No news, declining volume, market is flattened. I had plenty of room between my strikes. Okay, this one actually was much smaller than the last one, but I really liked the price. I really liked how the market had been declining in volume all day. Okay, this one I only had a one point range, and it stayed inside of there. Profit worked out well. Okay, all right. Hopefully, I haven't lost too many people. Right? You're risking more than 1 to 1. You know what? I can be. Isham, sometimes I will. If I really like the setup, I may risk a little bit more. But in both these cases, I actually wasn't. And as I mentioned before, if you may or may not picked up on this one, there are advanced exits, so I don't have to lose my maximum kind of buy-in. Okay, because if I do have the 20 minutes and I am sitting here, I will watch it, or I'll have stop losses kind of. I can't say stop losses because those are technically already in. I will have triggers that I'm looking for to get out of the trade, so it becomes a break-even trade. Okay. Um, Brett, actually, no, it's not. That's okay. So Brett thinks that I have $170 risk on this one, but that's actually not true, Brett, because there's absolutely no way that both of them can be wrong, right? I mean, how can the price be above and below at the same exact time? It can't be. Okay. Maybe one of them is wrong, and if one of them is wrong, that's how I get my $50 loss. But there's no way to be wrong on two different sides. Because like I said, if I'm looking, the price cannot be above 2,464 and below 2,463 at the same exact time. Okay. That's kind of the best things about it. But a lot of people see that it's like, wait, I could be wrong on both sides. No, you actually can't. There is no way to be wrong on both sides. Now, the news trading, you could be because that's a little bit different of a strategy. But the nice thing is I'm always protected in this. In worst case scenario, I lose to 1 to 1. But as I mentioned, I mean, this is 2 trades back to back, 2 winners in a row. And like I said, there are advanced ways to get out of these at break even, so they don't cost you anything. All right. Now, this is one that I really want to kind of share with you guys and talk about. We are starting to push the time a little bit. As I mentioned, this is the first time I finally gave in and said, okay, Jack, I'll do this. This is the Japanese Nikkei. Okay, the Japanese market had basically been flatlined for about a month and a half. Okay, I did not know that until I logged on my next platform and then did a little bit more research. Okay, this is not something that I typically trade. I typically stay with U.S. markets. I mean, I'll trade the Japanese yen, but I don't really follow the Nikkei. Okay, it's not something that I just do. But Sunday evening, okay, when I logged on to check things out, I got a pop-up message, okay? And the pop-up message told me that the Japanese market was going to be closed a day early because they had a holiday on Friday. So I'm thinking about this. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, this thing is going to close a day early. It's only going to be 4 days instead of 5 days. Let me look at a chart. Let me see if there's any type of opportunity I can take advantage of that. I went over to Forex Factory, and what I saw was that there was absolutely no news releases the entire week. It was literally like it was their Christmas week when nothing happens. I was just absolutely surprised. I'm like, that's interesting. Let me see what I can find. So when I looked at a chart, this is what I found. Okay, I backed it up so the chart literally ended to when I first saw it. I said, man, it's been in a sideways market this entire time with not a lot of movement. There's no news releases this week. Nothing really funky to be crazy with. I wonder if I could put a weekly butterfly on this thing. Why would I go to a weekly butterfly? Because the farther out in time you go, the bigger the spreads are. I was like, let me see if I can give myself the most room possible. All right. So that's what I did. I put this Nadex butterfly on. Okay. And if you look down into the chart over here, you guys see where this changes from red to orange. That's actually where I started the spread. Okay. I got in at pretty good rates. I got in at, 32 and 72. My profit potential in this one would have been $60 on this trade. Okay. Really, I was trying to find a reason not to take this. I mean, I had a 200-point range. And when you block this thing off, I mean, literally for a month, it's been stuck inside of that range. I mean, it peaked down a little bit here, but immediately went right back up into the area and going back and forth. I was in heaven in this trade. I was like, I can't find a reason not to take this trade. I shared it with Eric and I shared it with Jack, and literally we couldn't find a reason not to take this. Okay. So when I took the trade, it was here. Okay. Here is 4 days into it. Now, I would like to say that this one is profitable, and as I mentioned before, there's always going to be risk, okay? Not every trade works out, and I'm okay showing you with it. I'm not perfect 100% of the time either, and I was up until Wednesday night. Does anybody remember what happened Wednesday night of this week? Remember the whole North Korea, we're going to send missiles, and Trump saying, well, you'll feel wrath and fury and all that kind of stuff? That actually happened right here, right when it dropped down again, okay? Now, Why am I showing you a losing trade? Because they're going to happen. Okay, there are ways that you could have got out of this at absolutely zero risk. It would have cost you nothing to get out of this trade. But I want to show you guys. Was this a bad setup? Absolutely not. I met all my rules. Okay, volume was there. There was no news. It had been flatlined for a month and a half. Is there any way to plan for a geopolitical event? No, there's not, unfortunately. I mean, had I known that they were going to have that match, I mean, if they would have, left me the post-it note that says, "Hey, don't trade Wednesday night because we're going to, have an argument," I wouldn't have obviously, that would have met one of the rules that I would have gotten out of it, or that I wouldn't have got into it in the first place. But I was happy with it, And literally, what happened? Literally for 2 hours, the price, or 3 hours, the price went boom and collapsed. And then what happened? It went back to its flatlining. So had that engagement never have happened, do you think I would have been profitable in the trade? Most likely, probably. But was the analysis wrong? No. If I saw the trade again, the exact same setup, would I have taken it again? Absolutely. Had I seen this at lunch, would I have taken something very similar? Absolutely. Sometimes trading isn't always going to work, but I'm okay with you guys knowing about a loss on this one. This teal line right here is where this contract expired. I blocked this box off here just to show you. What did it do the entire time for 3 days? Sideways. I mean, it did basically nothing. Why? No news. And what happened? One talk, shot it down, and what did it do? It flatlined again and went sideways. Okay, great trade setup, but they don't all work out for you. The important thing to take from this one is that there are opportunities even on a weekly basis. And as you get better and better and more consistent with this, you'll start putting your strikes back, your strikes wider and wider to be able to capture things. I mean, I liked everything about this except what happened Wednesday night in the news. But there's absolutely no possible way to plan for that kind of stuff. All right? So it is what it is. I move on. I go to the next one. I don't get nervous. You can't let it affect you. Psychologically, if you do everything right and it doesn't work, forget about it. It never happened. I didn't break any rules in this entire trade. So I'm happy about it. All right? Now, let me mention news trading because, again, there's so much to cover. I only got about 12 to 15 minutes left. Every news trade, basically every news release or economic calendar release has two outcomes, okay? If the news is expected, if they say we expect there to be 250,000 new jobs and it comes in at 250,000, there really is no news move, okay? Nothing happens. But if they expect there to be 250,000 new jobs and we end up losing 100,000 jobs, that's a big, big difference. Guess what happens in the market? The price launches itself in one or two different directions. Okay. Now, the most popular news times are 4:30 a.m. Why? Because that's when London and Great Britain are doing all their news trades or all their news releases. 8 to 10:30 in the morning. Again, this could be before you get to work or a little bit before. Now, again, this is when the news release is. You're always going to set it up in advance. Okay. 2 p.m. What's at 2 p.m. typically? FOMC notes, interest rate decisions. Those are big ones. And then another one is 9:30 at night. Now, I'll give bonus points to whoever can tell me what news releases happen at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time at night. Okay, it's just it's virtual gold stars. I can't do much for that one, but you guys can try to guess to see what is at 9:30 night. Because if you're going to be an overnight news trader, guess what? You're going to be trading these. So you need to get familiar with it. All right. Now, here's a situation. During news times, typically volatility is much, much higher. Why? Because if they're wrong, which again, these are just forecasts. If anybody ever follows oil inventories, I think oil inventory reports are less correct than weathermen are. Okay, if anybody's a weatherman in here, I do apologize. But if you look at the weather, I don't think they're ever right. I mean, the Farmer's Almanac is about the closest thing, and even that's not, hasn't been correct, that much lately. But weathermen are never correct, and most forecasts are off as well. So what you do is you basically position yourself in one of these news trades, and there's two ways to do it. You can expect an explosion, or you can sell against the explosion. Okay. Big movers are typically oil inventories, natural gas, obviously currency, interest rates. Non-farm payroll from ADP is probably the biggest market mover in every single market in the world. FOMC notes are huge. You have retail sales. I mean, there's a ton of them. Typically, you have 15 to 20 different news trade setups throughout the week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I mean, there have been times where there have been 20 to 30 news releases that week that were vitally important. It is what it is. Every week is different. The summer is typically a little bit less, but again, great opportunities. Here's two examples here that I took a natural gas trade. Natural gas inventories were off, but they weren't even off that much. And look at the explosion. It went from 298 or 289 to 299. I think this thing ended up moving like 4 or 5 Nadex strikes up. It was absolutely unreal. The spread, I ended up taking like $13 or $16 risk on it and made $84 on it. The binary was the same thing. I think I ended up getting into that one for like 20 or $30 and made $70 off each contract. It was crazy. So these things happen. It's by far my favorite. So that's news trading. Okay. That's something that's included kind of in the entire program. Again, I wish I had more time today, but I don't. The overnight trend trader, just so you guys understand what I mean by that, is you'd be surprised how much markets move in the middle of the night. This chart right here is a perfect example of it. Literally this red bar, okay? This right here is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Is the U.S. stock market open during that time? No, it's not. But how much movement did you have until 10 p.m. Eastern? You had quite a bit. You had 21 points of movement during that time period. Do you think you can profit from that? Absolutely. Now, could you trade that by buying stocks? No, because it's after hours. You can't do that. What about options? Nope. Options aren't priced either. Could you have traded futures? Sure, you could have, but the volatility wasn't necessarily there. But could you have traded Nadex during that time period? Absolutely. The Nadex market closes from 5 to 6 p.m. And that's it. They settle their contracts and then they're open back up again. So at 6 p.m. is when I typically log in, but you could have done it anytime during this time period. Who's trading during that time? There's no institutions trading, so typically you'll find trends that start and continue throughout the night, at least until Europe comes online. The Asian session, that's the one typically from starting at 6-7 p.m. It's when Australia and Tokyo. They will affect our markets, but not to the same extent that the London session or the U.S. session will, affect theirs. So what I found is there's a lot of great setups overnight with this kind of overnight trend strategy. The markets move 24 hours a day. I will tell you the thing that I like most about this overnight trend trading, using some of the same systems, is the fact that you can wake up in the morning and your accounts are green already. And what I mean by that is when you wake up in the morning and you've already made $100, $200, $300, it makes coffee taste better. If you don't drink coffee, it makes tea. It makes water taste better when you wake up and you've already made $300 a day. And that's what the overnight trend trader is for, in that kind of strategy. All right. So here's another situation. Again, talking about how powerful that overnight trend trading is, taking the last kind of 7 days or 8 days. Here's a trade that I took on the 15th, just a couple days ago. I mean, literally, this trade went in here, and I didn't even take the whole move. It ended up going up even higher. From here to here, I ended up making $75 profit on this one using a spread, and literally it took me, I think, 4 hours, 3 hours, something like that. Now, a spread is a little bit different than a binary. It's still at Nadex. It's not an all or nothing. So literally, I took this one out early, and this I used a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. But I'm not trying to teach you this overnight trend strategy now. I don't have time for that. But what I'm trying to show you is look how much movement there is every single night. A drop of 19 points, a drop of 38 points, a drop of 53 points, an increase of 23, an increase of 38, an increase of 26.8, and it actually even went higher that day. So again, thinking about trading overnight when everybody else is telling you not to trade is entirely possible. Do I use butterflies overnight? You can. It can be lunchtime. It can be overnight. Like a situation here, yes. A lot of these times you're starting to see bigger movements. So I typically won't do it on this market. I typically focus on the Japanese markets, typically Japanese or Australian markets. A lot of the overnight trades that I will take using the lunchtime or the Nadex butterfly would be in the Australian market or the Japanese currency pairs. Okay. So for those of you that are familiar with currencies, that's in there. Now, does the strategy change whether it's a currency pair or a commodity or an indice? No, it doesn't whatsoever. Okay. Are your overnights mostly spreads? You know what, Mike? I typically do most of my overnights are more the trendings. So a lot of times I'm using the binary spreads for that one because I take myself out faster. But I will tell you, if there's any news in the middle of the night, like if there's like big, like Great Britain pound news, I typically will set up my news trade strategy on the pound yen currency pair. Okay. That's one of my big ones. If there's no news, then yes, I will typically look for a Nadex butterfly to put on, typically on an Australian, typically on the Aussie dollar currency pair. I just find that one tends to move less than some of the yen pairs. Yen pairs can be kind of sporadic. Now you could trade the Aussie yen as well. So there's a lot. Put it this way, there's a number of different opportunities. When you master the strategy, you'll kind of figure out which one you like the best. And like I said, I could have an 8x butterfly and an overnight trend in the same night on different things. It's just the way that they work out, and still only take 20, 30 minutes total to put those two trades on. Okay. All right, so we're coming close to the end here. So the next steps in this are open up an 8x demo account. Everyone who is attending today will actually get a follow-up kind of welcome email from us. We will actually have a link in there. If you don't have an 8x demo account, go to the website that Eric's going to send you and do it. Demos are free. They don't cost you any money. They give you $25,000. You can start playing around with this one. Hopefully you wrote down the rules from today or kind of got the ideas and principles behind it. Like I said, in an hour, it's impossible to teach you guys everything you need to know. I didn't really get to cover news much. I just wanted to understand why I told you not to trade news and what the strategy is for that, as well as what the trending overnight is. If you're going to be an overnight trader, then obviously you would want to get the education on the trending piece of it. And if you're a news person, you like that fast movement in and out, then obviously you need to get some education on that. But after you get an 8x demo, install some type of charting software. I mean, you can use whatever you want. FXCM is a great currency platform that you can use for demos. You can use Thinkorswim. Theirs is an easy demo to set up as well. There's a number of things. It doesn't matter. You can use this Nadex charting as well. Inside of Nadex, if you click, there's 3 little buttons. It looks like a signal bar almost. That's the actual chart, and you can do some charting, some basic charting inside of Nadex. So you don't actually need to buy anything at all. I mean, all these are free. And for those of you that have kind of grasped this, go ahead and get enrolled in our 30-minute trader program. I'll explain what that is in a second. Like I said, I've been literally working until midnight every night to try to get as much of this done as I possibly could for you guys. When we made the decision, we decided that that's it. We got to share it with everybody. So I've been trying to roll this out as much as possible, but unfortunately, there's no way for me to cram it all inside of an hour webinar. So there's a lot more to it than that. And once I got in there was more and more and more I wanted to teach you guys. So for the entire course, we call this our complete 30-minute trader course. I've broken it actually into 3 subsections. I realized very fast that, in building this webinar for you guys, I could go over the basics of the Nadex butterfly, but there's so much more to it. The advanced exits. So many of you guys have asked just amazing questions. Like literally, like I wanted to answer every single one of them coming through, but we'd be here for 3 hours, and unfortunately, I don't have that much time today. Hence the 30-minute trader course. So what I've done, I've actually created 3 courses. I've created a Nadex butterfly course, I've created a news breakout course, and I've created an overnight trend course. And all 3 of them come in the complete trader course. Plus, we also have a couple additional things that we want to give you with this course. One of them is a Thinkorswim Nadex indicator. This helps you map out the strikes to make it easier so you can get a better visual. Is it mandatory? Absolutely not. But if you're going to get a demo for Thinkorswim anyway, this indicator will be valuable, and we typically sell it on our website for $99. One of the other things we want to do is we want to give you a nightly trade ideas video in your inbox. Basically, every evening, Eric or Jack, Jack is the one that made the 70,000. Actually, he made 37,000 2 days ago on gold. Jack's just absolutely crushing it right now. He's doing some unreal things. These guys put together anywhere from, I'd say it's 10, 15 minutes typically. And what they're doing is they're not only reviewing what they traded today, but then possible setups. They're looking in for the overnight trading hours as well as into the morning, what they're looking at. Jack's gigantic trade, he actually set up the night before, and guess what we talked about in the nightly video. So if there are opportunities to take their analysis and apply these things, absolutely. So we're going to send that to you. And another thing that we're going to have is we're going to give you guys 1 month of Nadex alerts. And this is going to be the standard package. I'm actually going to make it a little bit better for you guys. Now, what are Nadex alerts? You're basically going to get text messages, and we're going to actually show you the trades that we're looking at and we're entering. Myself, I'll be sending those out. Jack will be as well, and so will Eric. So we have 3 different people sending those alerts out, and the goal is to get you 1 or 2 really great setups every day. And we'll give you one month of that for free. All right. So we're trying to add in as much as we possibly can because of the status of where we are with these courses right now. So what we're looking to do is the retail cost of this course when it's actually is going to be $249. You'll get the 3 mini courses plus the extras. But because right now we're in a pre-release stage, what we're going to do is we're going to give this to you today for $149. So you're going to get all 3 of the mini courses. You're going to get all the extras that are included in there. When I say pre-release, what does that mean? Well, here's the actual release schedule for these things. Okay. We have just purchased and we are mid-process of installing the new software that we've purchased. Okay. And when I say learning software, what does that mean? Basically, the days of just watching a YouTube video and you taking notes by yourself are gone. Okay. We are breaking this down, and what we are doing now is we have these videos that they're going to be broken up into sections. They are going to be quizzes after each section. And why are we quizzing you? Because we want to make sure that you actually grasp the content. Um, like I said, in my past life, way too many people were like, here, watch this, patch on the back, good luck. And I want to give you guys as much feedback as possible. I want to make sure that you grasp my concepts. I want to make sure that you're able to apply what I'm teaching you. And again, it may seem like I'm being, kind of like a teacher, sitting there looking over your shoulder, but that's exactly what I want to do. So these are the actual launch dates. Starting Monday actually is when you will start receiving your alerts. And because this is the pre-release special that we're putting out, not only are you going to receive your free month, but we're actually going to give you the extra, 10 days until the end of the month. So you're going to actually get a little bit more than just 1 month of actual Nadex alerts. And if the goal is to make $50 on your first one, then there we go. That's our goal. Our full release of all our software will be up by September 1st. The targeted launch dates for what we have right now, the news course, which is my absolute favorite, which has been my baby this entire week, I plan to have up and fully ready to go by August 23rd. So that'll be next Wednesday. That'll give you plenty of time to set up your Nadex demo, open up Thinkorswim, take advantage of that indicator as well. Again, you can have that all set up, ready to go, be rested and set for the 23rd. The Nadex Butterfly course, kind of what I covered today, that will be done in completion and up on the new learning software by August 22nd. I'm sorry, by August 28th. And then the overnight trend course will be the last one. That'll be up no later than September 1st. So you have my guarantee that all of them will be up by September 1st. Most likely they will probably, I'm assuming I'll have each of them up maybe a day or two beforehand, but I just want to make sure that I can give you some hard deadlines so you guys can go ahead and hit those. So with that being said, I've actually put the enrollment link up for you guys. Should be on the right-hand side. If you click that link, it's going to take you to an external web page, and you can put your information in there. For some reason, if that link is not working, you can also go to www.majorleaguetrading.com/30M for 30-minute trader course. And I'll tell you right now, we've put so much into this, and this is something that we've been talking about for months. We finally put it together, and Jack has been all over me to release this for our students. So it's one of those things, even if you guys are current students and you have our Nadex Masters course, this is different information. This is absolutely brand new. The slides are, the ink on the slides is still drying in some sections. I've just started to record things to make sure that we can get up there, and I need to add gamification models next week with all the quizzes and things. So I'm very excited about the new software that we have as well for, the learning. I think when you guys see it, you're going to be absolutely blown away with things. So with that being said, I can answer, I'll answer any questions that you guys have. I got about another 5 to 6 minutes that I can stay on. If not, after that, you can kind of send things in or send them to support. I actually need to get running. My kids are going away to Michigan today, and unfortunately, if anybody has kids that are little and they have gaming devices, you'll know how important they are to have for the plane. So I need to get out there and get that to them. So any questions, go ahead and type them in the field. I'll answer questions for about another 6 minutes. Remember, there is a delay, so if I go silent for a few, it's not awkward silence. It's me answering or waiting for things to pop back and forth. How long is this good for? I believe, Mike, that's a good question. I believe that the link will be live through today, and then we're taking it down. The whole point of giving you guys the extra time is so you can actually take advantage of it. If it's not for you, like I said before, at $149, if you're not sure that Nadex is for you or this type of trading is not for you, it's probably not a good idea that you do it. We tried to make this discount, one of those things that God, this is a no-brainer. I mean, if I'm going to be getting 1 to 2 alerts a day and I can hit 1 or 2 in the first 2 days or 3 days and I can pay for this by Wednesday, is it worth it? Yeah. And if it's not, then it's not. It kind of is what it is. After September, what is the cost for daily updates? Mitchell, that's a great question. We have not determined the exact price of that yet. I know doing it month to month, we were talking about $150 a month, but I don't think we're going to sell month to month. I think we're going to do 6-month and 12-month packages so you can get the full benefit of it, but that's not fully decided yet. Again, pre-release, that's where we are right now. Nope, Nick, it's $149 total. You pay $149 today. You have access to these 3 courses for a lifetime, one 1 month plus 10 days of Nadex alerts, access to the indicator as well as the nightly videos, and that's the nightly videos as well are lifetime. Okay. Are there other areas for limited time? Correct. Nope. If you do the 149, yep, you have that forever. Okay. Dimitri, is it available for 24 hours? Dimitri, the answer is yes. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Joseph, if you like that stuff, Joseph, you should see what we do with this one, especially the news stuff. Um, I've been kind of you can see my name. I get into the chat room all the time, and I just go in there as Brian. I'm just kind of been stealthy in there, just watching and listening. We haven't even started doing any of the news stuff in there. Wait till you see some of the news trades that we talk about in the nightly videos in there. If you like it now, Joseph, wait till you see what we're going to do now. If you improve the course, will it cost more? Zaire, yes, I have a lot more that I want to add into this course. I actually think that $249 is too cheap for it, but because it's pre-release, that's what it is. Once you purchase it, you have it forever. If you decide that 6 months down the road that you want to get back into this, I can guarantee you it's not going to be at $149. It will definitely be more. When I actually have 2 additional mini courses that I'd want to add into this 30-minute trader course. When I do that, the price tag will most likely be $499. Okay, so if this is something you think you want, do it today because it's going to cost you more later if you don't do it now. Congratulations, Dan. I'm excited to see you in there. And Dan, when you see Brian in any of the things, make sure you message me. And if you have questions as well, I'd love to hear it. Abner, thank you very much. I appreciate it. John, the alerts start Monday. It looks like Eric answered that question for you. Any other questions? Any 5-minute Nadex trades? Actually, Juan, that's a great question. I actually do have a 5-minute strategy for Nadex that I am studying or that I'm practicing right now. I want to make sure that I have enough data. Once I have a solid straight month, I'm getting close, is when I will start building that one. But I actually do have a 5-minute Nadex strategy that I am working on. So great question. Your name. What time of day is natural gas news release events? They are released at 10:15, I think. I'm sorry, 10:30. Those are typically on 10:30 on Thursdays, and oil is 10:30 on Wednesdays. So you can pretty much guarantee that every Tuesday night, I'm going to send you out a trade based off of natural. I'm sorry. You will typically always get an oil trade on Tuesday night, and you will typically always get a natural gas trade on Wednesday night inside of the alerts. Those things have been working like gold. It's last week I hit another 2 natural gas trades last week, and I hit gold. I think gold I've been 3 out of 4 in the last month on just my news, not anything else. So you mainly use spreads for overnight. Yeah, Brett, I mainly use spreads overnight because I want my 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I'll set them up a lot of times at 6 o'clock. Between 6 and 7, I'll set one of them up, like if the kids are eating or taking a shower or something like that. And a lot of times I find myself by 9 o'clock when I'm actually trying to come back and do my analysis, I've already hit my profit target and I'm already out of the trade. So I go to bed and I've already made $50 or, typically for those I'll do like 60, 70 or, sometimes $90. I end up finding out that I've already made my profit within 3 hours and I haven't even done my overnight. Overnight hasn't even happened yet. So yeah. In a member area. Dimitri, actually, we're going to have a new members area. So it's going to be a completely new thing. And actually, Dimitri, the new members area will actually go to the actual everything that we have currently in the new members area is actually being integrated across into the new learning management software. Like I said, I'm so excited. When I showed it to Eric and Jack, they fell in love with it instantly, and it's kind of one of the new additions that I'm bringing on board for Major League Trading. And I can't wait because we're actually Major League Trading is expanding, and we have a couple new things that we're bringing on board that we're being hush hush, but we're bringing it on for everybody. Okay. What instruments are your overnight spreads, Mike? That's a great question. I will actually typically put something on the S&P 500 overnight. I will also look at kind of what's happening news-wise. If I can get cheap spreads on the pound dollar, I'm sorry, on the pound yen, overnight. I will actually take those typically. This is a little bit more advanced, and I'm going to give you guys kind of a teaser because you guys are asking great questions. Inside of the overnight trend part of it, the overnight trend course, one of the things that I do look at as kind of an advanced kind of tool is I'll look at the typical ATRs. Basically, what is the expected range during a specific time period? And I'll kind of weigh that. Like, okay, if there's news, this is what I expect the range to be. If there's no news, this is the range. And if I can get cheap spreads, I'll throw those on some of the currencies. But it really depends on what's happening today. I mean, for me, every bit of my analysis starts at Forex Factory, so I can determine if there's news or if there's not. And if there is news, I'm very careful with my NetX butterflies. If there's not news, I may or may not put spreads on. For the fourth time, where you can learn spread trading. The spread trading is actually inside of the course. I actually taught I'm finishing up the NADEX butterfly course right now. I'm sorry. I'm finishing up the news breakout, and I actually have a section on NADEX news binaries as well as NADEX news spreads. So there's actually two sections. The NADEX the news course is actually it's actually like almost two courses in one. So great question. Where can I learn about the spreads? Spreads are very difficult for people to understand with NADEX for some reason because it's not an all or nothing. You know, people see that and they go, oh my God, the risk is big on spreads. Why would I ever trade that? No, the risk is not big. NADEX does not use the same all or nothing for the binary spreads. Okay, so the spreads are a little bit different, but I really like them, particularly for the overnight trending. Ty, that's a question for Eric. For the service after the initial course purchase. Chuck, do you mean for the alerts or for access to the courses? You have the courses forever and you have the nightly videos forever, as well as the indicator for NADEX forever. It's just those are just one-time purchases. Cannot get a confirmation for my purchase. William, Eric can help you with that one as well. Donna, I'm looking forward to having you there. And Donna, I'll tell you right now, being in this industry for a long time, women make excellent traders because you guys, you follow the rules. Okay, when you follow the rules, the system works for you. Women don't handle risk as well. Men seem like we're riskier. We lose more money than women do. But women follow the rules, and they tend to become successful traders faster than men. So welcome aboard, Donna. Do you trade the Dow? Nick, absolutely. Yeah, I do. Again, NADEX, I can trade everything. I like the S&P 500 because I like its movements, but I actually had a couple trades this week that I did on the Dow as well. Again, strategy is no different regardless of what you use. I'm in the members area. When will the course be available to view? Nathan, it will not be in the members area. It will actually be only in the new. So like right now, Nathan, if you sign up on the website and you're a current member, when you go to our members area, that is actually the old area. We are actually creating a new learning management software, which will be up and online this week. So by Wednesday, you will actually be ported to a different area to go look at this course. Okay, and that's where all the courses, the NADEX Master course, the boot camps, there's a new class that Jack's working on for Fibonacci. All that will be on the new side. So you won't see it in the members area. It'll actually be in a new section. Can we enroll as late as Monday or Tuesday to think about it? Mike, the big question is, what would you need to think about? You know, think about it this way, Mike. If you took this $149 and you bought the class and then decided tomorrow that you never wanted to trade, and you just kind of crumpled it up and threw it in the trash can and never used it again, would it be the end of your life? Probably not. It'd be $150. I mean, it'd be like an expensive dinner out somewhere. End of story. You know, worst case scenario. But best case scenario, you actually decide that you're going to do something with this. You're going to make a commitment, spend 30 minutes a night focusing on this, and make $200 in your first week. Is it worth it? Then yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, one of the things about trading that people have to understand is you got to be able to pull the trigger. Okay. More traders fail by something what's called paralysis by overanalysis than any other strategy in the world. Okay, you guys can sit there and think about it and think about it and think about it. You know, I'm not pressuring you. You do what you want. It's your money. But I always like to think about what's my risk and what's my reward. And my risk in this trade is $149. You know, is it going to change my life if I never do anything with it? Probably not. But if it does work for me and I do learn those things, what's the reward? It's unlimited. So, I mean, the call is yours. I mean, like I said, I can guarantee that I'll leave it there for 24 hours. But I'll tell you right now, if you need to think about it that much, it's probably, you know, you're probably going to be pretty hesitant in trading and you're going to have a lot more obstacles to overcome. Can you describe the indicator? Does it work for all instruments? Yes, Mike, it does. What it does is there's a little when you load the indicator, it will actually you got to tell it kind of what instrument you're trading and kind of put some numbers in. It takes about 10 seconds to do it, and then what it does is it actually maps out on Thinkorswim where all the strike prices are. So that way you get a visual picture of what you're buying, what you're selling, and where it needs to stay between. And I found that it's extremely helpful in my trading. I use it for basically everything at this point, even if I'm not looking at these strategies. I still have it up there because it's opened my eyes and I found a lot of things because of it. Is there a difference between this and the current MLT Nadex alerts? Yeah, Stephen. These, yep, absolutely. These alerts haven't come online yet. We have current Nadex alerts, but we're trying to kind of double or even triple the current Nadex alerts that we have. Like I said, as of Monday, right now, we kind of get the Nadex alerts out when we find them. This is a kind of new direction that we're going in where we're going to be using butterflies, we're going to be using breakouts, and we're going to be setting up overnight trades. Um, so, yeah, it's different than what we have currently right now. Where can we download the toss indicator? Joe, when you purchase it, you'll actually get a link for it. I believe that's correct, Eric, that he'll get an email for it. Once you log in, there'll actually be a page that'll show you how to install it under the member section, and that'll have the link on how to download it, how to install it, and then how to tweak it towards the actual asset that you are dealing with. Can we demo these strategies to see if they work? Ben, I hope you demo them. You can demo it without having the education, or you can demo it with. Um, it's entirely up to you. But yeah, you should always demo something first. My recommendation for you guys is get enrolled in the course, okay? Get in there, and there's actually some free videos and free education on the website, which will show you how to set things up and some basics of trading. Get in there and just start messing around. Place some Nadex trades just so you understand kind of what it looks like and how I place it and things. And if you need more, there is a Nadex master course that we actually have on the website as well that are more basics. Which is entirely separate than this. But what I would do is I would take those alerts that we're sending out and literally go ahead and put them on. I mean, in a demo account, what does it cost you? It costs you nothing. Can the indicator use a Ninja? Your name, it's currently not programmed for Ninja Trader. I'm actually in the process right now of testing Ninja Trader to determine if that's a direction we want to kind of head in platform wise. Right now, we currently teach mostly on Thinkorswim. Currencies right now, we're probably going to be teaching more on FXCM. But Ninja Trader can kind of do it all in one spot. So I'm actually in the process of testing Ninja Trader right now to determine whether or not we want to kind of educate people there. So yeah, currently the answer for right now is no, it doesn't work on Ninja, but we are looking at going in that direction. So maybe soon. And if you do purchase this package, when it does come out for Ninja Trader, you will be given that link as well, so you can use it there. Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate it. You have a good day then. Can the interview use a Ninja? Yep, John, you could use them on options expiration day as well. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people have a hard time trading options, options expiration Friday. There was actually some great opportunities yesterday to trade them. Unfortunately, I didn't get to trade them. It was kind of I got to do it in my like kind of end of day review because it's part of my routine that at the end of the day I always look back and kind of see what was available. For me, my priority is getting this done and this complete. I want to make sure that you guys absolutely love this, start to finish, and so this has been my main focus for the last 2 days. So when can you download the toss indicator? Joe, you can download the toss indicator as soon as you get enrolled. You can go right in there, get into your members page, and download it right away. Is there any? Now, okay, guys, I got to get running. If you have any questions, you can always email support@majorleaguetrading.com. So I'm going to close down the webinar right now if you guys aren't already up on the link. Yep, Jim, actually, you're correct. FXCM does trade against their clients, but you know what? Their charting platform works out great. I'm getting sent a message from Eric. Yep. Okay, guys. Yep. So Eric, I will put it. Let me put it in here real quick. Support. So that way, if you guys have any questions at majorleaguetrading.com. So any additional questions, you guys can message support@MajorLeagueTrading.com. This will conclude our webinar. So I'm going to be on the road. Thank you guys so much for spending your Saturday morning with me. I appreciate it. I'm extremely excited. I can't tell you how much I'm excited to release this content, but also about this new learning software. The new site will be going live hopefully sooner than Wednesday. Our goal is to get it out sooner than then, but we want to give you guys a deadline. But by Wednesday, the new learning management software, new member site will be live and up and running. So thank you very much. Can I upgrade to this one? Praveen, yes, you can. Yeah, they are separate, but yes, you can upgrade to this one. Eric can help you with that. Ooh, I see an MT4. Yeah, I can help you with that one too. Kent, it does not, but I'll tell you right now, I actually have something that will work inside of MT4 for you as well. So if you join the program, make sure you email me at support, and I will get you an indicator for that as well. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to close the webinar right now. MajorLeagueTrading.com/30-minute. Hit the link if you haven't enrolled, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.